Well, guys, I'm sure that all of you all remember the Great Pandemic, or some like to call it the Great Plandemic. And no doubt, most of you saw things that you didn't think you'd ever see here in the United States. Things you didn't think would happen, and you didn't think that people would actually do. We had the federal government telling us to stay home, telling us to shut our businesses down. The federal and local governments telling us to shut the businesses down, to stay home, to stand 6 feet apart, all the guidelines to take this. They were standing at Walmart and different stores, letting only so many people in because of the virus. And people overwhelmingly did what they were told. And, a lot of us, looking back, at that time, right before this happened, they told us that the government would have been trying to mandate these things, and people would have followed those directives. Most people would have said, it's not going to happen. The American people will stand up. This is America. They can't tell us to stay home. They can't have stay-at-home orders. Whereas they see you, it was worse in different locations. But some places, if they saw you out after a certain time period or out away from your home, the police would try to harass you and things, trying to force everyone to wear a face covering. And overall, people went with it. People obeyed. But most of us wouldn't have thought that would have happened. But we know now, looking back with 2020 hindsight, that it definitely did. So we see how people will react when the government mandates, when the government speaks. Most of the people will fall in line. So that's pretty obvious at this point. But we also heard during that time period the phrase repeatedly over and over and over again, the new normal. Welcome to the new normal. This is the new normal. And guys, ever since then, we have had one thing after another, one disaster after another, one catastrophe, chaos, one after another, and it seems like that one doesn't get finished and play out until another one starts. And I think that was actually the new normal they were talking about, because they had this plan going in from 2019 into 2030 and beyond to take us in a certain direction. That is the Great Reset, where they take everything and you own nothing. They take everything away from us. We have no property. We have no power over our own autonomy, no power over anything, and that's their plan. They want to depopulate, have enough people to keep everything running, and they want to control those people that are left like robots. They want to own everything in this Hunger Games society. But the new normal, we've heard that over and over and over again, and it's definitely been different since 2019 going forward. And right now, if you look at all the things that's happened, if you look at all the catastrophes, look at what happened with this hurricane, what's going on right now in North Carolina. No help from the federal government, very little help from the federal government. They're actually hindering the population, the people, the volunteers from actually doing anything to help. I posted an article yesterday on my website of how to help, who to donate to, so you can go over there and check that out if you want to donate and you want to help. They greatly appreciate it, I'm sure. But they want to have one catastrophe after another, and we're going to keep seeing this. This is our new normal. This isn't going to change. And, if a lot of people have everything, all their hopes and dreams riding on this next election, this presidential election, so we have to get Trump in to save everything and to fix everything. The thing about it is, these people that the deep state, these globalists, these people that run everything around the world, not just here in the United States from the top down, they have plans for all this. And if somehow Donald Trump does go into office, that doesn't mean we're not going to still be in this new normal. There will be lots of things still happen regardless of who gets in this presidential election. Now, I hope that Trump goes in, because we know what Harris is. We know she's offered open border for this equity and inclusion and diversity and all this bunch of bull crap. And we know that for a fact. We know that she is anti-gun, going to try to take and pass gun laws and take firearms and magazine bans and capacity limits and all that bunch of nonsense. She's all for that. We know that already. Trump has said some things and supported things I didn't like, like the red flag laws, for example, the bump stock bans when it comes to gun control. So who knows, if he gets in, how he's going to flip. Maybe, hopefully not, but it's going to piss people off, and I say this, but we never know. We never know what's going to happen because he was pushing red flag laws. However, we already know that Harris has pushed red flag laws, gun bans, confiscations, magazine bans. We know what she is already. So at least with Donald Trump, there is a little bit of mystery to what he might try to do. I mean, hopefully he supports the Second Amendment. He says he's going to, so we'll see. But regardless, there's going to be chaos. Because if Trump goes in, they have all these courts to block everything like they did the last time. Anything he tries to do about stopping all these illegals, about deporting, these courts that Obama put in, that Soros put in, are going to block everything. They're going to tie up everything in the courts. And we saw that the last time, and will continue in this next term if he does go in. We're going to see rioting, looting, terrorism, and no doubt, 100% in my opinion, we're going to see a wider war in the Middle East. We're going to see United States and Israel against Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, and we're also going to see, in my opinion, Russia is going to get involved because of Iran. And it's going to break out into World War III. And the economy is going to keep going down the tubes because they're going to keep spending. They have to spend. They're into a war. They're helping all these other proxy wars. And if we're actually in a direct war, which I think we're going to be, the direct World War III, they're going to have to keep spending and spending and spending to fight those wars, to support those wars. So inflation is going to go up. There's no doubt about it. So it doesn't really matter a whole lot who goes in. We're going to still see this new normal, and it's going to suck. It is going to suck. So don't put all your faith, in elections and things like that, because they have a plan, and there's powerful people and organizations that are implementing that plan. So this is the new normal. And we're going to see, like I said, the economy, inflation going to keep going up because they're going to keep having to print. We're going to see rioting, looting, terrorism in the United States most likely. We're going to see definitely war in the Middle East between Iran and Israel and the United States. And most likely that will spread it into a third world war involving Russia and China and North Korea. And we're going to see these extreme weather events continue, in my opinion. We saw what's happened here is going on right now in North Carolina after the hurricane, and all the flooding, all the businesses and the homes leveled, destroyed, floating away, the infrastructure, the places devastated. These storms don't look natural. And we've talked about this in this channel before about geoengineering, weather modification. We talked about this before on this channel. And I have no way of proving it, but I think that's what we're seeing there. And we're going to keep seeing these extreme weather events. And they're going to say that it's caused by one thing, but it's actually caused by something else. I can't say that part here on YouTube because the last time I did, the video got taken down. So they're going to say it's caused by one thing, but it's going to be actually caused by something else. In my opinion, geoengineering. And who knows? Here where I am, we've not had a really cold winter. And we've had snow and got below freezing. But it's not been, for 3 months straight. It's been for a couple of weeks below freezing. And then it will come back up. The temperature will be above freezing during the day. We've not had a lot of snow. We had a snow last year, but that was just a one snow. And who knows, though? Don't know what that was. But who knows what might happen this winter. We're not used to having, deep snows. But we may get a snow that's 10 foot deep. Who knows this geoengineering? They know a cold front's going to be coming in. They can be upsetting the clouds. They can cause massive snowfall. We may get 10 feet of snow here where I am. That'd be devastating. 10 feet of snow, I mean, it would cover most people's homes. They couldn't even get out. And don't think it's not possible, because it definitely is. We're going to continue to see these extreme weather events. We're going to continue to see war and inflation. It's a given, unfortunately. That is the new normal that they were talking about. And it's all to lead us into this great reset, this depopulation that they want, AI controlling everything. You own nothing, and the people that's left own nothing, and the mega rich corporations and individuals own everything. You have no autonomy over your own body, and that's what they're working on. And everything we're seeing now, and there's a few things thrown in there that probably isn't expected, or it's actually things that just happens. Sometimes things do just happen, but a lot of this has been planned, and it's planned out to lead us in a certain direction, and that certain direction is to give them more power, more control, and to have less people in the world, in my humble opinion. So stock up on survival gear. It's not a guarantee. You can prep all you want, and you might still not make it. I'm just going to be honest with you all. You might not make it. I might not make it. I mean, there's no guarantees. But if you don't prepare, if you have it prepped, you're most likely not going to make it. Your chances go way down. Prepping is simply doing something to increase your chances of making it through comfortably without too much suffering. We'll all suffer, but maybe, if you're prepared and stockpiled with food, clean drinking water, medical, check out Jace Medical to get medical kits, antibiotics. You can use code Creekmore 10 and get 10% off. I think that it is, or $10. So it's $10 off Creekmore 10 with Jace Medical, and get $10 off your first order. So there's something. You can stock up on long-term storage foods. I'll put a link, description box below, to my Patriot Supply. You can stock up with them. You can go to your grocery store, get canned foods, get things like sugar, flour, cornmeal, beans, rice, put that back. Get a good water filter. Get armed. You can only have 3 guns. In my opinion, get a .22 rifle, preferably a Ruger 1022. Get a pump action shotgun, preferably a Mossberg 590, and get a Glock Model 19 handgun. Those 3 guns will cover just about everything you need. If you want to expand that, you can get an AR-15. You can get a longer range, heavy barrel bolt action rifle with a good scope, range finders and things like that to reach out if you need to where you are, because some areas you have longer shots. Here where I am, you see right here, I mean, there's really no long shots here. There's some exceptions, but here where I am, a 100-yard shot is pretty average. Usually it's less than that. It can go further, but usually 100 yards or less. So I don't really need, a long range sniper type rifle, even though I have a bolt action rifle, 308. I have the scope on that has the rangefinder in the scope. If you had how your distance, you have the different circles, and it shows, it's calibrated, where you put each circle, it goes down for every 100 yards, and it goes up to 500 yards. So those are good, and they're simple to use. Just prepare, get ready, because we're going to keep seeing this new normal. And the new normal isn't something that is going to be enjoyable at all. It's going to be us getting rammed it's going to be like us getting rammed at a Diddy party without all the lubricant. That's what it's going to feel like. That's a crude way to put it, but it's the facts. They're going to keep ramming it to us hard. They're going to keep us in one catastrophe after another, one disaster after another, one horror story on the nightly news after another. They're going to keep feeding us propaganda, and it's going to continue. Trump goes in, a few things might get better, but overall it's going to keep on keeping on the plan is, in my opinion. Like I said, Harris definitely, we don't want her in there at all. We don't want her in there at all. With Trump, maybe might change a few things. I mean, the president really doesn't run the country. All these corporations, all these courts and things will block everything, and they pretty much run everything behind the scenes. So we'll see what happens, but we know, with Harris, what that is. That is completely something we don't want at all. Anyway, stock up. My Patriot Supply grocery store. If you want to go to My Patriot Supply and get long-term storage food that's already packed in buckets, those buckets. If the people would have had those buckets in North Carolina, they will float. So you might be able to save, some of those, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Some of the houses completely just gone. That was a horrible situation. It still is. Something like that is difficult to prepare for. But if you don't prepare, then you're not going to fare well in any type of disaster and in all this great reset agenda that's been put in place. So do the best that you can and stockpile, from your grocery store. Like I said, canned goods, dried goods. I'll put a link to My Patriot Supply description box below. You want to check those long-term storage foods out there. Medications, antibiotics can be life-saving. You can get those through Jace Medical. They are kind of expensive, but you can get those there. You can get those kits, and you can save $10 by using Creekmore 10 when you check out. Anyway, if you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you all being here. And I'll see you on the next video, hopefully.